You know those books, the ones that just stick with you, they spark conversation, maybe even a bit of controversy.
Definitely. There are some that just lodge themselves in your brain.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into one of those.
Mm.
J.D. Salinger's only full-length novel, The Catcher in the Rye, published back in '51.
And it's still one of American literature's most iconic, maybe most argued about works. It's amazing, really.
It really is. Salinger doesn't just, describe teenage angst. He throws you right into it.
Exactly. You're inside Holden's head, and that feeling, that alienation, the struggle with a world that feels phony, it clicks with people, even now.
Right. And that's what we want to unpack today. Why does this book still have such a grip? It's more than just Holden, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. It's a character study, yeah, but
Right.
it's also digging at society and
Yeah.
that voice,
Yeah.
that stream of consciousness, confessional style.
Yeah, totally unique. So, just so you know, our insights today are coming from a detailed review of the novel, aiming for a concise but thorough look, ready to dig in.
Let's do it. So, at its heart, Catcher in the Rye is Holden Caulfield. He's 16, pretty disillusioned, definitely troubled.
And the story kicks off right after he gets booted out of Pensy Prep,
Mm,
another boarding school he's failed out of.
right. And instead of going home facing the music.
He just bolts, heads to New York City.
Yeah, exactly. He just kind of floats around for a few days, bumps into people, strangers, old friends.
And his little sister, Phoebe, who's just so important to
It's
him.
crucial. The whole time, this short trip, he's wrestling with some heavy stuff.
Like, what's really eating at him?
Well, intense loneliness, for
Mm.
one. You really feel that. And depression, it seems pretty clear.
Mm.
But mixed in with that is this desperate desire to protect innocence, specifically childhood innocence.
And that leads us to the title, right? The Catcher in the Rye.
Precisely. It's this image he has, this fantasy.
Don't you break that down a bit? It's such a core image.
Yeah, so Holden imagines himself standing in this big field of rye, right by a cliff, and little kids are playing in the rye. And his job, the only job he wants, is to catch them if they start to run too close to the edge, to stop them from falling.
So it's a metaphor.
Absolutely. It's about him wanting to stop kids, to stop innocence from falling into the phoniness and complications for the corruption of the adult world.
Even as he's falling himself.
That's the tragic irony, isn't it? He wants to save them from the very thing he's struggling with, that transition into adulthood he finds so terrifying and disappointing.
Wow. Yeah. And that really sets up the big themes, doesn't it? Starting with that alienation you mentioned, that feeling of being totally alone.
It's pervasive. He feels disconnected from almost everyone, that constant criticism of phonies.
Which is basically everyone to him.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's not just being difficult. It shows this deep discomfort he has with adult society, the compromises, the lack of genuineness he perceives. He just can't find his place.
But isn't he kind of phony himself sometimes? He lies, he avoids things.
Absolutely. That's one of the great contradictions in him. It's maybe a defense mechanism.
Oh, could be.
But it ties into that theme of losing innocence, too. The catcher idea is about protecting others. Maybe because he feels his own innocence slipping away or already gone, he's right on that edge himself.
And you mentioned depression earlier. The book is pretty unflinching about his mental state, right?
Mhm.
For its time, especially.
It really is. Salinger doesn't sugarcoat it. You get Holden's depressive thoughts, his impulsive, sometimes erratic behavior, the profound alienation. It all points to a real psychological crisis.
How does Salinger make that feel so, I don't know, real?
I think it's that first-person narration, that stream of consciousness. We're getting his anxieties, his mood swings, his self-doubt, unfiltered.
Yeah, it's raw.
It's incredibly honest about how messy a young person's mind can be when they're struggling. And that's why I think so many people connect with it. They see something they recognize.
So this whole trip through New York, is it just running away? Or is it more about figuring himself out, like an identity quest?
I'd say it's definitely more internal. The physical journey is almost secondary. He's grappling with huge questions. Who am I? Where do I fit? What's actually important in this world I find so disappointing.
Yeah. He rejects the phony world, but he hasn't found an alternative yet.
Exactly. The city, with its random encounters and loneliness, kind of mirrors his own internal confusion.
And the way Salinger writes it is key. That first-person voice, it just pulls you right in. It feels like he's talking directly to you.
Totally. Holden's voice is the book in many ways. All the digressions, the slang, lousy, phony, the sarcasm, It feels incredibly authentic to a certain kind of teenager.
Even if it's a teenager from the 1950s.
Right. It captures that internal monologue, the chaos, the judgments. You feel like you're right there inside his head.
And the prose itself seems simple on the surface, but there's so much packed in there. Subtext, symbolism.
Deceptively simple is a good way to put it. It's easy to read, but you can analyze it forever.
So, talking characters, obviously Holden is front and center. Complex is an understatement.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's flawed. Deeply flawed. But somehow still sympathetic. Or at least understandable. A classic anti-hero.
What makes him an anti-hero, exactly?
Well, he lacks those traditional heroic qualities, right? He's passive, he's judgmental, he lies. But his flaws, his struggles, his vulnerability, that's what makes him relatable and interesting. Those contradictions you mentioned earlier.
Right. Hating phoniness, but being phony. Wanting connection, but pushing people away.
Exactly. That's what makes him so memorable. You don't forget Holden Caulfield.
And then there's Phoebe, his little sister. She's like a bright spot in the book.
She really is. She represents that innocence and intelligence Holden values so much. She gets them, you know.
Yeah, she sees through his act sometimes. She's a grounding force.
Definitely. A vital connection for him. And then you have someone like Mr. Antolini.
His former teacher. He tries to help, right?
He does. He offers some advice, seems genuinely concerned, but that encounter, it ends weirdly, ambiguously.
And that just feeds Holden's distrust of adults again.
Unfortunately, yes. It pushes him further away.
Okay, so let's shift to the cultural impact. Because, I mean, this book is everywhere.
It's been a staple in American high schools for, what, decades now?
Generations of students have read it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's influenced so many writers, artists, musicians.
Mm-hmm.
You see echoes of Holden's voice or themes all over the place.
Absolutely. It's become a touchstone for talking about teenage rebellion, that feeling of being misunderstood, existential angst.
Yet, at the same time, it's constantly being challenged.
Yeah.
Banned from schools and libraries.
Right. That happens a lot. Usually because of the profanity, the casual talk about sex, and the mental health stuff. Some people find it inappropriate, especially for younger readers.
And it's not like everyone loves it. Some readers just find Holden annoying.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
People find him self-absorbed, whiny, hard to empathize with. That criticism is out there.
But the counter to that.
Is that those themes, the alienation, the depression, the search for authenticity, they're timeless. And maybe Holden's flawed narration, his unreliability, is exactly the point.
But it makes it more authentic.
Arguably, yeah. It reflects the messiness of being human, especially during that difficult transition period. It feels real to a lot of people because he's not perfect.
And then there's the other side of the controversy.
Yeah.
We should probably mention impartially, the book has been linked in the media and elsewhere to some really tragic real-life acts of violence.
Yes, that association exists. It's part of the book's complex history and notoriety. It's important to note, though, that this focus can sometimes overshadow the deeper literary and psychological aspects Salinger was exploring.
Right. It adds another layer to its complicated legacy. So, after all this discussion, why do you think Catcher still resonates so strongly? Why are we still talking about it?
I think it comes down to honesty. It's just brutally honest about that transition from adolescence to adulthood. The confusion, the pain, the hypocrisy you start to see.
It's all punches.
Not at all. And that exploration of identity, feeling like an outsider, searching for something real in a world that feels fake, those are universal feelings.
Yeah. So whether you love Holden or find him frustrating.
Right. Either way, the book forces you to think, to confront uncomfortable things about growing up, about authenticity, about mental health struggles that often go unspoken.
It definitely does that.
Which kind of leaves us, and you listening, with a big question, doesn't it?
That's that.
Well, how do we reconcile that longing we all have, maybe, for purity, for innocence, with the messy, complicated, sometimes phony reality of being an adult? And what can Holden's journey, as troubled as it is, tell us about finding our own way, our own authentic self in the middle of all that, even when things feel like they're falling apart?